and gentlemen, we're here for the Upperclassmen podcast.
What's up, podcast viewers, I guess? Is that what you call them?
Blake, you always start out with the...
What's up?
No, how do you start it? You go...
Good afternoon,
Yeah,
or good morning, whenever you're watching
this.
this.
Off. Wow.
I know.
Hey guys, see, this is what happens when Kyleigh comes back. You leave Blake alone for 1 week, and he's already in shambles. He doesn't even know the intro.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, okay, last week, sorry I wasn't here, but honestly, Lauren just said, Lauren's with us, but you can say hi if you want, Lauren.
Hello, guys.
Okay, we're not going to introduce her yet, but she was saying that Mr. Wiles thinks that you need to have more confidence in your podcasting abilities, and you know what? That is true.
Sure.
You're good at what you do, Blake.
Thank you. So are you.
Well, thank you. I already know that, but I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I was sick last week. Bailey, if you're listening, you did amazing, and so did Kendra and Lydia. Like, honestly, you guys knocked it out of the ballpark. Like, couldn't even tell I was gone. All right, Blake.
Okay.
So Blake's gonna ask everyone a question.
All right.
And answer in the comments, please.
Okay.
And last week, Blake was supposed to upload the video, turned off the comments, so
Yeah,
what's that about?
well, see, the thing is, that's not my strong suit, so.
At least he knows.
I do everything,
Okay,
else.
so he's going to ask a question. Leave your answers in the comments. We'll go over them next podcast.
Okay, wow. Where do you see Kyleigh and I in 20 years?
Like, okay, but for one, like together or just like Kyleigh and
Separate.
Blake? Okay.
Yeah, separate. We're not going to be married.
Okay.
Right? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
that's
Oh,
what
okay.
Just making sure.
I mean, we could be.
I do. Are you proposing right now?
I mean, I could.
There's a lot of weird tension in this room right now.
Well, the only tension is between you because you're jealous that me and Blake
Yeah.
are married.
Yeah, we have such a strong
Connection.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, where do you see Kyleigh or Blake in 20 years? Lauren, what do you think? Where is Kyleigh in 20 years? I'll be, 37?
Oh boy, that's old.
37?
I see Kyleigh, let's see. I see her far away from this town.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe back with my own family.
Oh shoot, I forgot that's like like family age.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if it's her path to get married and have children, which I think it will be, perhaps, who knows, then she'll probably be back here because she knows Buckeye's a great school for that.
I do know.
And she knows New Washington.
We have a great
town.
community. Great community.
Yes, she knows her job will be some sort of something help saving the environment because that's her passion that's what she's all about. Blake, let's see. Blake is gonna do great.
Blake's gonna be an
things.
actor. I see Blake like being on Broadway, like being an
Honestly,
actor.
I see Blake definitely doing something in the media.
Yeah,
I'm
for
not
sure.
sure what, but I'm
Welcome
really
to the late night show with Blake Homer.
yes.
See,
I'm
this
getting
is starting
some
out.
sort of vibes
Like,
like
I'm
that.
getting you out of your shell in this podcast, like,
And
I'm to develop you to be great.
I'm gonna win a
I
Grammy
think
one
it'll
day.
be something
I'll be like,
online.
thank you, everyone.
No, he's gonna say
I
thank you,
dedic-
Kyleigh Brown.
I dedicate this to Kyleigh Brown.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I'm Kyleigh K, and this is Lil Gingy.
Little Gingy.
Did you like that?
The
I
ginger
did.
ninja.
I did. I like that.
Hey, yeah, so let us know where you see us in 20 years. 47. How old will you be 46?
36.
Oh, 36. I said 47.
47.
Anyway,
Jeez.
next, we're going to do a little sports recap. So we've seen a lot of success here in sports, like literally just this past week at Buckeye Central.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate?
You know what?
Okay, yeah, sure.
I
Let me do
I
it.
have to.
Blake has his Altoids right now.
My Altoids. Is that how you call them?
Yeah.
What do you
Like, the
know?
only person I've ever seen with those is my grandpa.
Hey.
Anyway,
Your grandpa was probably
golf
a
is
cool
at
guy.
regionals. Golf is going to be at regionals tomorrow, so that's exciting. So if they
Yes.
win, if they qualify,
Bowling
they'll win
Green.
state. Yeah,
Bowling
Bowling
Weren't
Green.
they golfing today?
No, they went to
they
practice.
Went to hotel or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
That's really neat.
Volleyball still number 1 in the league.
Heck
We
yeah.
Of
talked
course.
about the game against Seneca East last podcast, and we did end up securing that win. So
That
congrats,
W.
ladies.
Yes, it was.
And
Three
football.
Sets. 3 sets.
Yeah, 3 sets, 1 and 3.
Sweet.
Oh, and if you're looking to read about volleyball, your boy is in the Herald writing articles for volleyball.
Pick up your copy. Look for that volleyball
Yeah, look
article.
for
For
Blake
you local
Homer.
listeners.
Look for Blake Homer and be like, that's a dude I listen to.
Yeah,
That's
for
great.
sure. Football has a playoff game this Friday.
Super
3 hours
exciting.
away.
West Virginia border.
Our first volleyball game, or off of volleyball. Our first football game in playoff football game in how long?
Many years.
Yeah. So this is
2011?
We have a chance. We really just need to secure it.
Yeah, Lauren.
We got this.
Lauren is actually. We'll introduce Lauren now. So this is Lauren Jensen, everybody.
Yeah.
She was actually my first friend, girlfriend, ever, because
Yeah.
I grew up a tomboy. I just had tons of guy friends that we would play football at recess with. Lauren was my first friend that was a girl, and sticking together, she's still here. She's still one of my best friends.
Still journeying.
And speaking of football, she is the football coach's daughter.
Yep, coach's
Mr.
daughter is what they
Chad
call
Jensen.
me.
CJ, we talked about him before.
Yep.
Yeah.
CJ Chad Jensen. Now we got LJ on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
So this week, we're going to dive into kind of a little mini series I convinced Blake to let me do. So this week, we're going to talk about mental health. We're going to dive into it. And then next week, we're going to go in to talk about self-development and self-growth, which is something I'm really passionate about. And I think that it'll just really help a lot of people and bring a lot of new ideas and, just new thoughts and positive energy into people's lives. So, yes, today we have Lauren on. We're going to be talking about mental health for teenagers. And I just want to disclose to everyone that me, Blake, and Lauren, we are high school students talking about high school issues that we've experienced. We're not professionals in any way possible. We're not experts. We are literally just stating what we believe to be our best opinions and ideas. And we do not...
And what we go through.
Yeah. We are just trying to speak to our audience in the best way we know how. And we are not... I don't want anyone to think that we think we know it all when we don't. We're just speaking from experience and we're just trying to help others. So if we say anything that you think is wrong, whatever, just know we're speaking from experience. And this isn't the case for everyone, but we're just trying to speak to a big audience. All right, so mental health has become a lot more talked about recently, which is a good thing. And before, it was kind of like you didn't really talk about it, people went through dark phases of their life, but it wasn't really talked about. And now, just recently, I feel like it's just now hitting the surface of normality, because mental health is real. It's always been real for literally ever, but people chose not to talk about it because when you think about mental health, oftentimes you think of crazy people in a mental institution and pulling their hair out and screaming and those are totally things, and you don't have to be absolutely insane to reach those breaking points, but there's just a stigma around it and it just hasn't been talked about for a while. But luckily 2020, here we are, and I think it's just now getting the real recognition it deserves. And suicide for especially in teenagers, don't get me wrong, adults can definitely have their mental issues, but I just watched this TV show it was a movie on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, and it has shown that. Did you watch it?
Yo, I just watched it the other night.
Really? Yeah.
And then I deleted social media afterwards.
Period. Me too.
Yeah, and then I got it back a couple days ago. So
it's a you gotta fluctuate.
Yeah.
But I watched this movie, The Social Dilemma, and it talked about how suicide rates in teenagers the age has gone down from when. So before, maybe the average age was, this is literally just a guess, okay? Say it was 17. 17 was the most common age of suicide in teenagers, okay? Well, recently, since social media and everything, it's now 15, 14, and that is just insane. And so yes, it's sad, but it needs to be talked about, and now more than literally ever. And so this is from the World Health Organization, but suicide is the third leading cause in death among teenagers 15 to 19. The third leading cause of death is suicide. And that's scary. That is, honestly, to me, it's just, scary. And yes, we're going to get into other things, but, I just want to note that, you are not alone. You are never alone. And you should never think that taking your own life is going to solve your issues. Will it make your issues go away? Sure, but getting through it is a way, it's not always going to be hard for you. It's not. You are going to get through what you're going through, and you'll just come out such a stronger individual. And you should never think that suicide is the best option, because it's not. There's people you can talk to. There are things you can do. There are situations you can get away from to make your life better and to start you on the right track. So never think that you should have to turn to taking your own life. Because mental health, depression is like a big one, and it's so curable. Like, it is. Like, no, there's not some magic pill. Well, in some cases there are, because, depression might be chemical imbalance. Because there's different things that cause it, like family problems or confidence issues, or like literally just like scientifically, you have a chemical unbalance in your brain, and so you are sad more often than not. And it's curable, like whether it be a pill or whether it be like going through times and going through struggles and going through therapy. Like, there will be a time where you will remember all of your dark memories as a memory. And you will live in this happy age, and you will just be glad that you stuck with it and that you pushed through because you were in such a better place now.
And even if you aren't in that happy place right now, you are not alone in this at all, and things are looking up. And even if you feel like you're completely alone, you haven't talked to anybody, it's okay. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, 1 in 5 young adults has mental illness. And that's just the people who have come out with it. More than half of them are literally struggling in silence, feel like they have no one to turn to, and that is so scary. You don't want to feel like a burden. You don't want to bother people with your problems. You think that it will make them sad if you tell them, but that is not the case, because you cannot do this alone. It's okay to lean on other people. It's okay to lean on your friends, because they're going to help you. Lean on your friends, lean on your family, go to therapy. Like, not one thing is going to solve or change anything, but it can help you out of that. And literally you aren't alone. You won't be in this dark place forever, but you have to start somewhere by speaking out. And I know it is so scary. It is so scary, but there are people that care about you, even if you don't feel it or believe it, or signs aren't showing that anybody cares about you. There are so many people who care about you. You are so loved. Trust me. People would be lost without you. Like, I'm serious. Like, you lean on your friends, lean on your family when you need them, or even when you don't need them. Just tell your friends you love them. Tell everyone you love them. We have to be there for other people in a time, like, not even just in a time like this, but in a time anywhere. Like, things have been hard recently, and they're going to continue to be hard. Things are always hard. Life isn't easy. Life is definitely not easy at all. And yes, I am so happy that mental illness is getting more talked about, because it needs to be out there. I believe older generations push it to the side. Like, it's not that. It is important. It is just as important as physical health.
Yeah, it's kind of like, so when someone hurts themselves, like breaks a bone, gets in a car accident, like, people are like, oh my gosh, like, are you okay? Like, obviously that's the correct response, but people don't always have the same reaction if someone tells them they're struggling mentally, when in reality, physical hurt and mental hurt are really like the same degree. I mean, obviously getting in a car accident is terrible, and like, I'm not trying to downplay that at all, but you can't downplay mental illness. Like, you can't, because the brain literally controls your entire life. Like, your brain is everything, and it's not always going to be perfect, just like your body. Like, I tore my ACL last year, and it put my body through it. Like, it was bad. I had to have surgery. I had to have all this. And say that was like something in my mind. Say I went through a really dark time, really dark depression. Like, it would still be something equally as hard that I had to go through, even if it wasn't physically. And I really liked what Lauren said with her statistic that 1 in 5 people, young adults, struggle with, depression, mental illness?
Mental illness.
And that's something, and especially how she said that, and that's even the people who've come out about it, because honestly, that's a huge point. 20% is the stat that we know about, but there are so many people that just hide in darkness and that just hold it all into themselves because they feel like, well, they don't know how to feel, they don't know how to handle it. But you just have to know that if you are struggling and you haven't talked about it, like, you are not alone. And there are people to talk to, and it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. It is, and you may think that people are going to downplay you. And honestly, the truth is, some people may. Some people probably are going to tell you to toughen up. But that doesn't mean that you should stop talking about it. That doesn't mean you should go hide. and just keep it to yourself. Like, I know so many people, like, a lot of guys, honestly, and that's sad to say, but they were raised to hide their feelings because that's not what a man does. A man doesn't talk about his feelings. A man doesn't cry. A man doesn't talk about things when things get hard. Like, a real man will just take it, and they will just keep it to themselves, and they'll get through it by themselves. But that's just crap. That's not true. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you're not allowed to talk about your feelings, doesn't mean you're not allowed to cry, doesn't mean you're not allowed to feel real mental, emotional pain. Because that's not true. And yeah, just know that you are not alone, and what you're struggling, people are struggling with you, and don't keep it to yourself because yes, you can get through it on your own, but it is not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy with anyone either, but people out there definitely want to help you and definitely can.
Yeah, there's a stigma around any type of mental illness, really. Like men can't be sad. Like, they're supposed to be a man, they can't be sad. Or, oh, only really skinny people suffer from an eating disorder, or this or that, or
like bigger people. Like, some people think that, oh, like, the bigger people are struggling, the really small people are struggling, but everyone's struggling in their own ways.
Yeah, or that like, guys can't have eating disorders. Like, what? Like, that is not true at all. Anybody can have anything. You really do not know what is going on in someone's life, which also it goes back to that so many people are struggling in silence. And I just want you to know that if you are struggling and if your brain is telling you that you shouldn't tell people because you're a burden or you're not worth it or you're not enough, I just want you to know that your brain really is lying to you. You are not your depression. You are not your eating disorder. You are not your bipolar disorder. You aren't any of the above, and etc. You are way more than that, and you can overcome this. And you, most importantly, you are not alone. Your depression is lying to you. Your mental illness is lying to you. You are not a burden. You are worth so much in this world because we all really need you here. Like, I promise you are worth it, and it's going to be okay. Like, you can reach out to anybody. You can reach out to me even if you don't know me. Like, look me up on Insta. You'll find me. Lauren J.33. You'll find me. I promise I will help you in any way that I can. Like we talked about earlier, I'm definitely not a psychologist or a therapist or any of this, but I will help you in any way that I can. And maybe it won't be the best help. Maybe it won't help at all. But just know that I love and care about you, no matter who you are. I promise. Like, I will try my very best because you are not alone and you are not a burden. You are none of that. I promise. You are worth so much, and you're going to do such great things in the world. Like, I can tell. Like, this generation, like, I don't care what the older generation says, right?
We're going to do things.
We're going to do great big things in the world. We're the future. And the older generation will say that that's scary that we're the future, but oh my gosh, are you kidding me? We're going to change the world. See, we've got this. We're going to do such great things, especially if we're teenagers. Actually, I read a while ago that adolescence is one of the hardest times of your whole life, and we're almost through adolescence. We're getting there. We're just teenagers right now. Like, this is such a small part of our lives, and we have such great things to accomplish. And I know I've talked to people, and they're like, I don't want to be old. Like, that's scary. Like, I've talked to people, they don't picture themselves, like, any older than 30. And I'm like, I know. And that's why you take life, like, a year at a time, a day at a time, a minute at a time. Like, it will all figure itself out. I know that the days pass by slow, but the years pass by fast. And we're going to do great things. And we're going to overcome this. We're going to overcome adolescence. We're going to overcome all the stigmas. I promise it will be okay. I promise. I know it's super hard right now, but just know that you are not alone. You are never alone. I cannot stress this enough. Like, please, like, don't hesitate to reach out to me if you're feeling low or anything. Just want to talk. Like, I know that's a little bit cliche, but it's really, like, it's super important. And I know you probably see a lot of people post stuff like that on Snapchat all the time, and you just skip past it. But it is so important, and it is not talked about enough that you have people to lean on. You have your friends to lean on. You have family to lean on, and it is so important to know that you are not alone in your struggle.
Yeah, and especially, like, you don't have to be a doctor, an engineer, a famous superstar, a social media influencer to be successful. Like, you don't. You just have to be, I mean, this is super cliche, but you just have to be yourself. You just have to live every day. You don't have to be making some 6-figure number a year to be successful or to be something. You don't. And you may picture where you want to be in life. Like right now, in 20 years, I want to be working for a nonprofit organization, and I want to be helping people travel, like teaching people about the dangers of plastic and how we're killing the planet. That's what I want to do, okay? In 20 years. Who knows? Literally, who knows what I'm going to do? Who knows? I've been looking at so many different colleges. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to actually reach that, but just because I don't get there doesn't mean I'm a failure. And just because you don't have to go to college to be successful, you just really have to do what makes you happy, which I guess goes into what Lauren was talking about in government, and now I sound really cliche. But
No, you're not. It's okay.
But it really is all about, don't do things because you're expected to. Like, I really believe that. Like, if you think that you're expected to do something and that's why you do it, like, that's the wrong reason. But anyway, we're kind of going on a tangent, and that was just the intro to mental health. But I think we were going to hit on some of those topics later, so we just did them now. So, social media. We were talking about social media influencers, you know, Lauren promoting her Instagram. Nothing wrong with that. Following
I'm
Kyleigh
definitely
_
not a social media influencer. Just
No.
I just realized that I don't know my username.
You don't know your username
No.
Insta?
It's like Blake. Isn't it like Blake Homer _ or something?
Something like that. I don't know. Blake _home or something like that. Ladies, I'm single. Go follow me.
Period.
No, I'm just kidding.
Like this is in Tinder.
The social media is a humongous platform. It is a part of 90, this is just Kyleigh speaking random facts out of her butt. I would say 95% of teenagers are affected by social media, if not 100%, to be honest. But everyone has it. Everyone's on it. We're all using it. There's pros and there's cons, okay? So yes, social media makes us new friends, makes us feel more connected to the current friends we have more than ever. You see tons of fun memes that brighten your day. Like, honestly, social media is a huge resource. That's what it is. It's a resource. However, there are cons to social media. Like, it's not all what it seems to be. Because we are constantly having these ideas and these pictures pushed into our brains about how we should look and what material items you need to be cool. And one of the worst part is, well, with the ads, like, you are just fed advertisement after advertisement, like, really just trying to get you to buy in, to make you feel like you need whatever they're advertising to you. And again, with the other hand, like, so much of people's pictures that you see or whatever they're spewing, like, a lot of it is fabricated. And I'm not saying that everyone out there is fake, because they're not. That's not true. But a lot of people, they use Photoshop on their pictures. They Facetune them. Like, I'm sure almost so many, if you're a teenage girl listening, you know what Facetune is. And that's okay. But you just have to know that when you see those pictures online, and you're like, wow, I wish I looked like that you're probably seeing a fake picture, something that has been edited in some way. And so it is just a terrible thing to, like, base your confidence off of, especially because what people post on social media is, like, the best picture, or it's the picture that makes them look like they're having the best fun. Or, like, when people post vacation pics and you're like, wow, I wish I was that person. Well, that person's life isn't that vacation picture. That person's life has their own tribulations and struggles, but they're showing you the best part, and they always show you the best part of their lives, because no one's gonna post on social media their darkest times, or like the times that they're doing boring things. They're not gonna do that, because who wants to see that? I mean, and if you do, then more power to you, I guess. But like Bella Thorne, she's someone that I've like, okay, like, look at me like that. Bella Thorne, I got on her Instagram, okay, and in one of her captions she said that, like, she refuses to let her like producers, whatever, to edit her photos on Instagram. Like, she refuses. Like, they're always like authentic, I guess. and I don't know if she uses filters or anything, but like she doesn't like Facetune them. She doesn't like whatever. She doesn't let them edit anything because she like I think she's really just come to realize that that's feeding into the insecurities that we have as young females and young males is that we see these pictures of these people and it's like it's almost like unrealistic and you just want to look like that and you want to be that because to you, you're seeing all these pictures, you're like, that's what a normal person looks like. That's what models are normal. Being a model is just normal and we should all look like models. When that is so not true because that it's like, yes, some people are just born that way and some people have worked to look the way they look and that doesn't mean that you can't get there. But you shouldn't be comparing yourself to these pictures of models that you see. And just a note of advice, okay, for anyone. If you're scrolling social media and you catch yourself staring at a picture and you tell yourself, you're like, I wish I looked like that. Unfollow that person immediately. Your social media feed should be building you up. It should be making you more confident. It should be inspiring you. It should not be making you more insecure.
I saw something I liked on TikTok the other day. It was, you guys, I don't know if you guys know her, but Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg. She's married to Donnie Wahlberg. They're famous.
All right, no, I don't know, but continue.
Okay, so she puts on tons of makeup. And she, wears these fancy outfits and stuff like that. And so there's this TikTok where she, came out in a robe and she had all of her makeup off and her hair down and whatever. And, it was completely different from when, then the next, she jumped and then she transformed into all her makeup and everything. I was like, dang. I was like, that's what you don't see.
Yeah.
So, I like that she posted that.
Yeah, because it showed that, that's, yes, she's doing that. She's putting on that makeup and putting on the nice clothes because it makes her confident. And there's nothing wrong with, wearing makeup and wearing nice clothes or whatever to make you feel more confident. But she was showing people that, she doesn't look like that all the time and it's not unrealistic to not wear makeup. So, yeah, I do like that. And then also, social media may bring us together, but also I feel like can make us feel more isolated, too. When you see people posting on their social media, being at parties or hanging out with people all the time, it can make you feel alone. It can make you feel like you don't have friends, when that's completely untrue. Like I said, people don't post on social media when they are laying by themselves at home, unless they're posting a YOLO. Then maybe you might be like, oh yeah, they're home all by themselves. Or if you see someone post a YOLO and they get so many responses, saying so many things, and you're like, and you post one and you don't get any, and you're like, why don't people care about me? That's a real thing. And so that comes with, social media. It's just feeling like your followers, you don't have enough followers, you're not good enough. And that's just a load of crap. That is just a load of crap.
Yeah.
Listen, the numbers mean nothing. The people who respond, life is not a popularity contest. And it may seem like that over social media.
Especially in high school.
Yeah, but just because someone doesn't slide up on your YOLO or, I don't know, someone doesn't comment on your Instagram picture, you don't get enough likes, that doesn't make you any less of a human being or any less important than anyone else. And that is the truth.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, social media really, it can bring you up, but it also can tear you down.
It can tear you down so fast. I can name countless times where I, feel confident, I feel good, and then I post a picture and say it doesn't get enough likes, and I'm like, well, was it not a good picture? Maybe I didn't look good enough in it. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. And I'm like, well, I should just delete it. It doesn't even matter. People don't care. And that's not unique to people. That's not. People look at those things, and it has become so toxic, and it honestly, yes, social media is so good, and it's so fun, and, obviously, I know probably me and all my friends are addicted, but you really need to take it with a grain of salt and not really let it affect your mental health, I guess.
Which is way, way, way easier said than it is done.
Yeah,
and
easier.
It's a big process because what comes first with that is is obviously having confidence to even begin with, and because social media affects self-image terribly, literally horribly.
or even just having the confidence to say that, like for me, at least, and I'm not trying to say that I'm like better than anyone else, but just having the confidence to like know that without the social media, like you're still going to be able to connect with people. Like for me, I've like just recognized that social media has led me to waste a lot of my time, and maybe it just doesn't make me the most happy. And I'm not going to get rid of it forever, but right now, just during my busy time, like I deleted it. And you need the like, because at first you want to delete it and you're like, oh, I'm gonna miss out, I'm gonna miss something. Like people aren't gonna text me, like I'm gonna lose all my friends and all this. But you need to have the confidence in like yourself to be able to walk away and know that if I step away from this, if I step away for Instagram, for Snapchat, for even a day, like you're not gonna lose your friends, you're not gonna be left out. Like it's okay. And so with all this, you know, I think, especially just now, adults don't really understand the pressure that teenagers and just kids feel right now in society. And I mean, I wasn't a kid when my parents were kids, or when their parents were kids, so I don't really know. But I just feel like adults don't know the stress and just pressure that we feel. Like there are so many things, at least for me, like I guess I can really only speak for myself, but I just feel I feel under the pressure of like getting good grades, like staying involved, being in all these sports, like having a job, having a balance between school and social life and family time and exercise. And it just leads you to like the biggest fear of disappointing anyone. And it's terrible. Like you want to fit in, you want to be there for your friends. And it's just a lot of pressure. And I don't think that adults really like recognize that.
Yeah, it's hard because like even with our parents, they didn't have social media back in their day. And they might have done all the same stuff, but social media puts so much pressure on you. Like so much on top of everything else, on top of school and sports and social life and everything else, and you feel like you need to fit a certain stereotype, and that is just so not true. Like they say that like you're supposed to like find yourself in high school and you're supposed to know what you want to do by the time you graduate, and it's just, which all people have had to deal with knowing what they want to do. Like not just our generation, like obviously, because you've always graduated at 18 and you decide whether you want to go in the workforce or military or go to college.
But I feel like now even more than ever, there's more pressure that like you have to go to college. Like
Yes,
that's the path you
that
have
is
to
a
take,
big-
or you're not going to be or you're not going to be successful.
That is a really big
And yeah, there's still people who aren't going to college, but like I think it is a stigma that like you need to go to college to be successful, but that's not true. That's really not
because
true.
you don't. If you want to, then do it. If you don't, then don't. If you want to try it out, then try it out. It's, yeah, like, this might sound stereotypical, but you need to make yourself happy. And I know it's so hard to find true happiness because it all starts within yourself. It all starts within yourself, and we all struggle with that, and it's hard. It really is hard.
Yeah, and I just know that, I mean, at least for me, like I've always been super involved, and I feel like I've always just been down this one path of just like sports and school and, well, mostly sports, I guess. And like now, I just feel like I'm kind of like steering away from like that kind of like area. Like obviously I still care about school, I still want to be involved, but just kind of like the sports, like I've always been a 3-sport athlete. And like I was always scared of like admitting that I didn't think I wanted to do a sport anymore. Or like I wanted to give more time to something else I was more interested in. And I was honestly so scared, and I still am, of just disappointing my coaches, my parents, my teammates. Like it's just scary. And I don't really know what I'm trying to get at, but I just know that I've definitely felt so much pressure just from everything. And I just think adults should recognize that yes, especially what Lauren was talking about, like, yeah, fitting in has always been like a problem, but like now you have like actual like statistics on websites that like numbers of followers and how many likes you get and how many like messages you have and all of these, and it makes you feel like you need that, or you're not popular, you're not cared about. And, like, before, they didn't have that. Like, if you wanted to hang out with someone, you did it in person, and you didn't know what other kids were doing because you were just hanging out with your friends. And you weren't, like, so involved and invested in other people's social life. But, like, now it's not like that. You see what the cool kids are doing, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not cool, and it makes you feel worse about yourself. And, yeah, I just think adults need to be more understanding of their kids and the stresses that they're going through, because there's a lot.
And not everybody is the same. If you're not a very social person, that's okay. That doesn't make you any less than someone who's very social. If you have a small group of friends, that doesn't mean that you're less cared about than someone who has a big group of friends. Like, you are perfect just the way you are. Okay, nobody is perfect, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we're all so different. We are all so different. Some of us are going to have so many friends. It's easy to talk to people. Some of us are going to have a close-knit group of friends because they have trouble making friends, or maybe they just don't want a lot of friends, and that's okay. And we shouldn't use that as a metric for how happy we should be.
Yes, and yeah, just because what you're doing is different than what someone else is doing, that doesn't make anybody either right or wrong. Like, it's okay if you don't go out every weekend and hang out with your friends. That's okay. If you're by yourself, it's okay. Like, and we all need alone time sometimes. Even if you don't choose to be alone and you feel like you really just don't have friends who like to go out and do stuff with you, that doesn't make you any less. I promise you. We're all struggling with that kind of stuff, you know? It is difficult, and I just want you to know that even if you aren't like the person you see on Instagram and you aren't going on vacations or hanging out with your friends all the time or doing all this stuff, you are still just as loved. I promise you. If your friends aren't the social type who go out and party and hang out all the time, that's okay. That doesn't mean your friends don't love you too, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're boring.
Because you're not. I promise you, you are way more interesting than you think you are.
All of us are so unique. Like, one thing I love personally, most of my meeting new people comes from Teen Institute, a club I'm a part of. But I love going to those camps and just meeting so many different people from different backgrounds and just hearing about how unique they are. And not all of them are just this perfect little shell of a human that you expect everyone to be. Like, everyone has their own stories, everyone has their own qualities and traits, and it's just so interesting. And just because you don't think that you follow this certain pattern of the social norm, that doesn't mean that you are less than, that doesn't mean that you are weird, that doesn't it doesn't mean anything.
Yes, it doesn't at all. Literally at all. Just because I go I hang out with people a lot. I'm a social person. That doesn't mean that I'm any better than someone who's an introvert just because I'm an extrovert. We are all built differently, and that is perfectly fine. And literally, I don't know, people probably don't know, but I really do. I struggle with social anxiety, but you would probably never guess it unless you saw me by myself somewhere where I look like a nervous wreck, because I freak out when I'm by myself, but when I'm with other people, you would probably never know at all. And I'm not perfect. I'm not this or that because I am an extrovert. Trust me, you introverts are so hard on yourself. I've talked to people and they're like, man, you're just so social. I wish I could be like you. And I'm like, listen, it's okay. I promise you, you are perfect. Being an introvert is perfectly fine. Honestly, I've just from observing and being around, in different groups and stuff, there is this one kid in band who actually at a TI event is where I first knew who he was actually, and he talked during this. He's very quiet. I think I don't even know what grade he's in. He's in high school. I think he's a sophomore right now. But at this TI event, he talked during a workshop, and I was just so fascinated at everything he said. He had never talked before, but he had so many interesting facts about a certain subject that he'd done his own research on because it's something he's really interested in. And then I heard him talking at the band game on Friday. He sat behind me in the bleachers, and he was just talking. and just filled with like so much facts and knowledge, and it was so interesting. And he's obviously not someone who talks a lot because I've never like heard him talk really. He's always been pretty quiet, especially in band class and stuff. Like he's being a little disruptive. But I was so interested. Trust me, the stereotype is, oh, in high school you have to be popular, you have to be social, you have to go to parties. That is not it at all. You are literally perfect and so worthy. Like, trust me, I was so fascinated. Like, I literally like chimed into the conversation because I just thought it was so cool. And I literally want to go up to this kid and be like, listen, like, I'm not like, I've been watching you.
I aspire to be you.
But like, I admire you because I really do. Like,
And social skills, like, honestly, it's something that you, like, learn. Like, it's, like, yeah, some people are, like, born with it, but, like, if you're an introvert, it doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to talk to people. Like, it's honestly something that you have to practice and get comfortable doing.
And even if you don't have good social skills or never will have good social skills, that's okay. Like,
Well, that's not true. You can always work on your social skills. Like, even if they're not great, like, you can always improve them. And it is a quality that you can, like, grow. And it's never going to, you might never be to the point where you can, like, give a whole presentation in front of, like, millions of people without, like, peeing your pants, because, like, that would be me. But, like, you can definitely, like, improve.
Yeah, that's true.
But even if you're not there yet, like, it's fine. Like, you are completely fine.
I mean, like, it's okay to not be the super outspoken one in the group. Like, it's okay to be, like, the observer.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, because honestly, it's probably better to, like, think before you speak and such things, you know?
Yeah, and that is not me at all. I'm definitely just the rambler. And, like, you think about it, like, even with me, like, just, like, with Blake before, he's told me that I come off very confident. And it is just, like, very, like, I don't know, like, refreshing. But I have so many, like, insecurities and so many, like, even social anxiety. Like, I do. Like, I think everyone does. I don't know one person who doesn't have social anxiety. So, like, even if you, like, if you see someone that's, like, you just think that they are so confident, they love themselves so much, like, they have the perfect life, like, you wish you were them. Just know that, like, it's not always what it looks like. Like, it's not.
And even if you do know that person is going through something, just don't feel like a burden to them too, just because they are dealing with something. Like, I promise you, it is still okay to lean on your friends because, like, Kyleigh just said that she has social anxiety too. Like, everybody does get it, but I do lean on Kyleigh because I have it too. And Kyleigh has like it's like different types, kind of. Like, I rely on Kyleigh when we're in big crowds. I rely on Kyleigh a lot. I rely on Kyleigh to walk first through a door because I'm too scared to walk first because I'm too scared to embarrass myself or not know what I'm doing. But then Kyleigh probably will rely on me in a drive-thru because she gets drive-thru anxiety.
Or I rely on Lauren when we're in a crowd full of people and I don't really know people, but Lauren's really good at just talking to people that she halfway knows.
Yeah.
That she's just, like, acquaintances to.
That's true.
I always feel like, to me, when I see people that, like, say, like, you just kind of know them from other schools and you just kind of know them from social media a little bit, like, I always feel like I'm like, they don't want me to talk to them, like, they think I'm weird, like, I don't know. And then Lauren's always just so friendly, so, like, I always, like, piggyback off of Lauren in situations like that where I'm like, Lauren will say something, she'll say all the right things, and I'll just be like, yeah, you too, and then walk away and it'll be fine.
And you know what, that's perfectly fine. You're supposed to, like, lean on each other. Nobody is perfect. We all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, but we are all perfect in our own way. And obviously we can always improve ourselves, but I just want you to know that no matter what your strength, what your weakness is, you are enough and you are more than worthy. Like, we are human.
Yeah.
We are human. Like, we have so many issues, and that's fine.
And that is fine.
It's okay to be problematic.
Yes, it is okay.
Also, if you're content and unproblematic, that's okay too.
Yeah. And, okay, so our last point, so we were talking about stressors that teenagers feel. I really want to emphasize this really big, like, pressure that, honestly, I feel like probably wasn't that big of a thing, like, maybe when our parents were younger, but is kind of, like, newer now, and, like, are making kids feel more pressure and more stress, is that, like, at the end of the day, like, a lot of teenagers, I mean, there's, like, two hands to this, but teenagers rely on other teenagers to, like, make them, like, to help them. And, like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, if you need help, then you go to your friend. But as that friend that, like, has these people coming to you, like, you need to know, like, as a parent, that your child literally probably has, like, helped someone with, like, mental illness and with depression. And, like, they have that. And it's not necessarily a burden, but they have that, like, little, like, kind of stressor. And that some people, like, parents don't recognize. Like, I know so many people who have, like, come to me with, like, depression and, like, honestly, like, suicide. And it's real. And as a parent, you don't know that your kid literally, like, it's almost like they have a value of a life in their hands.
Or they're dealing with it themselves.
Yeah, or that, like, because if it's not your kid's depressed, like, this is almost 100%, I guarantee. If your kid is not going through mental illness, then they are helping someone else, someone they really care about through mental illness. And I think that's a lot of things that adults just don't realize, is that we all know someone who's suffering, and we all know someone who is kind of, like, relying on them. And it's scary, and as someone that people are coming to, like, it's scary. And I'm not trying to say that, like, oh, everyone's coming to me. Like, I'm just kind of speaking for, like, everyone. But, like, it's the truth, and people may be ashamed or embarrassed or scared to talk to their parents or professionals. So they go to teenagers. They go to people who they trust. And for those other teenagers, like, it can be a huge stressor, because us teenagers, we're not psychologists. We're not professionals. We are literally just teens trying to help other teens. And people may, like, be scared to talk to a professional because they're scared that people, if you come out and, like, it's known that you have depression or mental illness, that people are going to think you're crazy and, like, think of you differently. When for one, that is not true. But when you are that person that people are coming to, like, you are literally holding the weight of another person's life. Like, they are relying on you to, like, help them. And yeah, that's scary, and there's literally nothing wrong with it. Like, I don't want you to think that you have to feel bad for going to other teenagers for help.
Because you don't.
Because you don't at all, yeah. If you don't want to talk to someone, if you're not comfortable talking to an adult, like, go to a friend. Like, there is
Just
someone out there
who
who
will,
will,
friend. Do
yeah.
not struggle in silence.
There is someone who will be there to help you. But as that friend, like, and as an adult of a friend, and just as, everyone just needs to acknowledge that there are people that may not be hurting, but are helping and holding on to dear life, trying to help someone else. And it is a real, like, thing that adds pressure to our lives. Like, we are just trying to, literally, we are just trying to, like, survive and have good grades and be successful. And on top of that, we have all these mental issues going around, and it's hard. And like I said, like, I'm not trying to, like, minimalize, like, the problems, because the problems aren't the issue. Like, none of it's an issue. But we just need to be more aware that, like, your kids are going through this. Like, your kids are helping people with mental illness. Like, just know that, like, they are going through things. And, like, just kind of be more, like, accepting and just, like, acknowledge that. Because it's hard. It's hard for all of us. It's harder for the people going through it, and it's hard for the people helping. And I feel like now more than ever, like I said, I almost guarantee that if you don't think your child is struggling with mental illness, they are definitely helping someone who is going through it. And so that's all I have to say on mental illness. That's all we have to go on. But just a reminder, I know we've said it so many times, but you are not alone. If you need to contact any of us, Kyleigh is here, Blake is here, Lauren is here, and there's so many other people that are here. And this is just a really sensitive and important topic, and we just hope that we were able to shed some light or to help people, because at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to spread awareness. We're trying to make others feel as if they're not alone, because that's the truth. And me, Blake, and Lauren, I can guarantee all of us have gone through our struggles and are still going through our struggles, just like everyone else. Like, just because we're here and we're able to talk about this doesn't mean that we're not struggling ourselves. It doesn't mean that we're better off than anyone else. We are teenagers talking to other teenagers and hopefully enlightening some adults too. Like, we just want to help, and we just want you to know that you're not alone and that there are other options. And just because it seems hard and it seems so dark and like you'll never get out, that doesn't mean that you're better off just going away.
Yeah, you deserve happiness and you deserve a great life. I promise you that. You are not alone, and it may seem like you will never be happy. You may think that you're going to have to live the rest of your life like this, but I promise you that is not true. You are enough and you deserve happiness. If you think that you may deserve what you're going through, because that's what your brain's telling you, but that is so not true. I promise you, it's all lies. The demons that you're dealing with are lying to you, and I promise you that you deserve a great life, and you're going to have one. You deserve happiness. I promise.
Yep. And so next week we are going to piggyback off this. I know it wasn't really the most put together podcast. We kind of rambled a lot, but I hope that you guys listened. No, it was me too. I hope that you guys were able to get something from that and just get some, even if it was just anything, just some bit of inspiration, importance, knowledge. And next week, we're going to be on with, hopefully, Katie Haggerty talking about self-improvement and self-growth. And on that note, Blake, you got anything else to say?
This has been the one and only TLC podcast.
Period.